For those who were joining us, sorry about that, but we were in our Wi-Fi crash. That Shohei Ohtani and the Angels has signed a 10-year, $7 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He would be one of the highest paid players in Major League Baseball, which would put him at the top of the list after joining the top players um, on the list that include Bryce Harper, among many others on the top of the list, including Aaron Judge, and among many others among the highest paid players in all of Major League Baseball. Shohei Ohtani comes from the Angels. After playing there for about 5 or 6 seasons, he'll be just up the road on the 101 freeway, or on I-5 they call it, up to LA in the entertainment capital world, where you have Hollywood, and definitely the celebrities, and a much bigger city life there compared to Anaheim, where the Angels played, where they had the Anaheim Ducks Arena, Disneyland. That's really about it. But at least you have the sunny beaches and warm weather surrounding the area, so which is nice. And but once again, um, the Shohei Ohtani signs the $10,700,000 contract with the Dodgers, which puts them as the betting favorites to win the World Series. Mike, let me try this again. Your thoughts about Shohei Ohtani joining as a member of the of the Dodgers? They have a great team and a great farm system over there. They know how to win. They're still a great team. They're still the team to beat in the regular season, but who knows the postseason? But Mike, your reaction to the news that broke on Shohei Ohtani's new deal with the Dodgers?
Two things. One is the contract itself. $680 million is deferred, so it's very team friendly contract, because he's only going to be paid $2 million per year for the 10 years of the contract. I think he makes a lot of money on doing a lot of commercials and things of that nature, and then when he's through playing, then he's going to be paid $68 million a year for the next 10 years after he starts playing. So very interesting contract. I think one of the other point is he going to be able to get Yamamoto, the Japanese pitcher, to join the Dodgers? I was just reading the Yankees and the Dodgers are both in the hunt for the new pitcher, but having a Ohtani on the team, convincing that. And then Blake was saying that the best recruiter is someone else on the team, not necessarily the coaching staff. So that'd be very interesting if they do land Yamamoto. The Dodgers are going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, they're definitely assembling quite the all-star squad over there in LA for sure. And it's not a huge shock that that's the team that he decided to join. I think a lot of Japanese players prefer to stay on the West Coast so they can fly back to Japan more easily, and the weather and stuff in LA, Ohtani definitely favored. So fair enough. He doesn't want to move cities, and Dodgers is a good option for that. And the bigger market teams are able to obviously attract the bigger free agents, like we saw the Yankees getting Jan Soto. Granted, that was a trade, but still. And Ohtani going to the Dodgers. So yeah, I think the real interesting part of this transaction, though, is the way that the deal is structured, where they're deferring the payments far into the future to avoid the immediate payroll tax. So it's interesting how the bigger teams, obviously, they want to attract players. They pay the most players, but they're able to not circumvent the rules, but essentially get away with having big players on big contracts and not have to overpay for the payroll tax because of the way that they can defer the contract to the future. So interesting. I think ultimately it benefits MLB to have the biggest teams paying the biggest contracts to the best players. So I get why they're incentivized to allow teams to do stuff like this. But from a competitive angle, it is, I can see how it's frustrating for smaller teams that might think, well, we have the cap space. Like, for example, not that they're a small team, but the San Francisco Giants made a similar offer, like years and total value wise that the Dodgers made, but ultimately Ohtani wanted to go to the Dodgers, and they're able to structure their deal to where they don't have to pay all of that, 70 million per year every year kind of thing. Otherwise, their payroll, given the current talent, like we mentioned, with Betts and the likes of Betts and Freeman, who they've given big deals to. So from a competitive angle, maybe it's frustrating to see the Yankees and Dodgers continually getting the best players on big deals, but ultimately that's kind of what MLB wants in the end. So you can't be too frustrated with that, I suppose.
And ultimately, they still have to beat the Braves.
Exactly. It's just because you sign Ohtani doesn't grant you the National League crown automatically, does it? So you got to go through Atlanta first. So, and to be fair, the Braves are building their roster a bit differently, where they're doing a good job of identifying young talent and locking them up to long-term deals, the likes of, Austin Riley, Michael Harris, lots of great young talent versus Dodgers, who less in the development game, more in the big game hunting in terms of free agents. So I guess we'll see who prevails in that battle.
Yeah. As teams put out more and more deferred money, I mean, it's eventually going to catch up with them. As a side note, the Nationals this coming year have to pay Max Scherzer $15 million because of his contract with the Nationals, deferred money. So they have to start paying him $15 million.
So when somebody like Scherzer gets traded to, well, I guess he didn't get traded to, he signed with the Mets from you guys, is that right?
He signed with the Mets while he was a free agent. We traded him to the Dodgers. He was a rental
That's right.
Till the end of the season, and then he became a free agent. But
So
when he signed a 6-year deal to come to the Nationals, a good portion of his salary was deferred. So when he got traded, the Dodgers didn't subsume the deferred money. The Nationals are still on the hook for the deferred part.
Yeah, so they weren't able to shift that payment onto the receiving team. That's ultimately still comes down to
at some point
club,
you still have to, you still got to back up the Brinks truck and start paying these guys for all this deferred cash.
Well, this is so crazy, but did the Dodgers just become the biggest pro-inflation organization, and Shohei Ohtani just become the biggest deflation person in the United States? Because the Dodgers, I mean, we just inflate our money, then they're on the hook for way less. And if the opposite is true, but I wonder if there's a clause in this. If he happens to pass away, does the money go to his family? I'm thinking down the road. This is a long way down the road. Are the Dodgers off the hook if he just disappears, or does it, move on to his family? I wonder what the contract says.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would imagine that it would go to his heirs. But
yeah, I don't know if they have anything that extreme in the contract, but I know they have some structure of the deal is where if certain members of the front office end up leaving and stuff like that, then they can shift around the parameters of the deal. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, personally, if I was a fan of a team, like, I would be a little uneasy about these long-term contracts that could potentially handicap you 10 years in the future kind of thing. I know, well, the Angels, for example, I remember they gave Albert Pujols a crazy long deal that he only ended up playing for them for the first couple of years of it. And then, but that's just kind of the way the MLB contracts are structured, given the way that league operates in terms of no salary cap and stuff like that. So there really is no ceiling in terms of preventing teams giving out super long deals to old players, that they really, in the back of their head, they know that the last couple of years, like the odds of Ohtani actually being on the Dodgers for those last couple of, because he's not a young player, he's actually like fairly old. I think he's in his he's like mid to late 20s or something. So by the time he actually
He's either
reaches that,
28 or 29.
yeah. So like if you're giving he's 29, so you're giving a 29-year-old 10-year deal. Like you're not thinking about the last couple of years of that contract, right? You're already like that's the whole point of the deferred payments, is you're already putting it in the back of your head. And obviously he's a bit of a special case given the fact that he's he's like the most popular athlete in Japan, and huge Japanese population in Southern California and all that. So there's obviously a lot of external factors that go into that deal. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. It's probably easy to take away big trends from this deal, saying like, oh, the MLB, like everyone's going to have these kind of deal now. But I think ultimately Otani's kind of a one of one type situation. Like I don't expect to see this kind of deal happening for a lot of other players, given I think Ohtani is kind of just a special player that gets a special contract,
And to your point, Blake, as I said earlier on the show, that he would have to sit out for 1 year for the season because of elbow surgery. But
well, for pitching, yeah, I think he can still hit though, right?
Yeah, he can. But 2025, I would expect him to be what would be his bounce back season, and where he would stay healthy as much as he can for this team to even and to possibly for maybe if his team stays healthy and goes to a deep postseason run. I think this team can really can be up for grabs for whatever they do in about 2 years time, and if that's the case, then who knows? They can possibly be in the World Series if this team stays strong and healthy.
I think Ohtani would have to stay healthy. That's as a interesting point. He's already had Tommy John once already.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So this is his second surgery on his elbow.
I wonder who the $700 million surgeon is. I would imagine they didn't just get a doc in the box, the closest one to the stadium.
Yeah, but he's already had the surgery before he signed with the Dodgers. But I would imagine that they would have gone through all the medical records with a fine-tooth comb just to make sure. I mean, it's quite a risk on their part. But
Mike, you think they had a second, third, fourth, and fifth opinion on the X-rays and how the surgery went and the MRI scans and all that?
I'm sure they did. But not that the Dodgers have any problems filling the stadium, but with Ohtani pitching, they're going to fill that stadium. But I think too that when Yamamoto becomes a Dodger, that's just they're going to be tough. Freddie's going to be glad he signed with the Dodgers. That's for sure.
I guess we'll see.
Only time will tell. Whatever the baseball season gets underway. This upcoming late March, April, whenever the season comes that time of year for opening day like it does every year. All right, so let's welcome our next guest. Sorry, we had to wait for him all this time on our show. We appreciate you being patient with us here on Good Guy Sports. I want to welcome everybody back to the show. Grant Radakovich. Grant, great to have you on. I mean, I know we had our guest on. He's probably
Hey, sorry, Jackson. I had to run on to a business call. So I'm still on it there. So
hey Grant, it's great to have you on. I want to talk about what's going on with you lately, and I just want to know what the what the scoop is.
Jack, why don't we'll come back to Grant later. We'll come back to Grant later.
I know, but I just want to ask him.
Now we'll let him hop back in his call, Jack.
I know, but I just want to.
Let's go to the next topic, and then we'll come back to Grant. Okay.
Hey, we'll come back to me. Hold on, just a second.
Yeah. All right. Get back to you.
What's our next topic?
But while we wait for Grant to come back on, what I want to ask him is.
No, I know, but what's our next topic apart from Grant?
But once we get back to our I'm just saying, once we get back to our guest Grant Radokovich, we are going to ask him what the scoop is, and if you heard anything from our high school football team playing in the state championship. That's what I want to ask him about when he comes back from his call.
Okay, we'll ask him when he gets back. What's our next topic, though?
In the meantime, while he's on his business call, we are going to talk about the NFL's doubleheader triple Saturday. The first game I want to get to is the Vikings taking on the Bengals in Week 15 of the NFL season. The Vikings. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Vikings put up just in their game last week. They just in their game last week 3-0, which was the first time in the last 16 years that we had a scoreless NFL game, which looks like a baseball or a soccer sport to me, whenever you look at it, because of how great defenses played in that game last week when they went on the road to beat the Raiders 3-0 on the road, which is even hard to believe, but at least the Vikings is a win for them. The Vikings got it done, which they did most importantly, and now the Raiders have to play the Chargers at home after getting what was, I don't know, spanked or almost shut out by Minnesota last week. Now they play on Thursday football, taking on the Chargers tonight on Prime Video at 8:15 Eastern time. So I'll get that second. But the Vikings and the Bengals. Currently the Bengals are a 3-0 favorite. Joe Burrow, as we all know, has been out for the season lately, so they're starting their backup quarterback. We'll get to that in a second, but want to welcome. But before we get into that, we want to welcome back Grant Radokovich back on Good Guy Sports as he just finished up with his business call. Grant, sorry for the wait. I wanted to talk about what the scoop is and the scene is in Atlanta where you are. Tell me what's going on and what's the reaction in the move down to ATL.
Well, last night, Jackson, I sadly watched our alma mater lose in the state championship football game against the Milton Eagles, which was unfortunate. But I was proud of us for getting there.
It's not happened. Well, listen. It's happened. It's happened before. So we lived through it during our time together. I know what it's like.
Yeah, we both lived through that, and this time we were a little bit more competitive, which was good. And I think we had a great showing. It just was a tough game. A lot of turnovers will get you. At the end of the day, if you turn the ball over a lot, you're gonna have a tough time winning. So excited to kind of see what they come up with next season and keep going from there. But I was proud alumni last night. So
most importantly, that's where we're here for our Good Guy Sports. At least you and I we're part of it together in the last few years together when you and I were in high school together. So great memories.
So that was a bit of an upset then. I think the Raiders were definitely favored in that one, no?
Yeah, they were 14-0. Milton was 12-2, but again, the Raiders just they came out, controlled the game early, but then kind of middle of the end of the first quarter, our quarterback took a big shot. I think he was a little bit got a little bit squeamish in the pocket after that, and then man, it was all Eagles till about the middle of the fourth quarter when we kind of staged a little bit of a comeback. And it was good. I mean, our defense played really, really well, but Milton getting the ball on our half of the field for the whole entire third quarter, basically, and coming away with about 10 points from there, like really, really stung. So it was a good, good hard fought game, and just hard to win when you turn the ball over. That's the name of the game. So
Still a good season for Walton, going undefeated and making it to the. I can't. Yeah, I'll confess I wasn't really following the team, but were they like a big passing or running team, or like what was the what made them so great this year?
they were pretty fun and gun. I mean, the quarterback really he threw a ball later in the game after he kind of came back to in the fourth quarter. That was, one of the best balls I've seen thrown by a high schooler. So like they've been slinging it around. He threw for 265 yards every game, all year. And this game, just was a little bit different. They had a lot of pressure on the quarterback. It was just it was a hard fought high school game.
Are there a lot of big recruits from Walton that we'll probably be seeing in the SEC, ACC in a couple of years? Do you know?
Yeah. So we got the one offensive tackle, one of our defensive ends. They're both going to be playing the SEC. One's playing for Georgia, the offensive tackle, and then the other one is playing for South Carolina, I believe. So the Game Hawks got a good one there. And then we got the quarterback. He's going to Wake Forest. Our running back's going to Memphis. I know there are others. I just I don't have my program in front of me, but the Milton Eagles also, again, my dad's team, he called me today because the quarterback is a 2025 recruit and he's committed to Miami. And so he was asking me how he played. And I'm like, I'll tell you what, he didn't really have to do, he had an interesting game. He really managed it well. But he didn't make any throws that made me go, wow. So, but yeah, it was a good game. A lot of big time recruits on the field there. Kind of like our game, Jackson. Robert Kimdichie, Wayne Gallman, our buddy Brandon Cublano, Tyron Jones, like all those guys.
I remember.
Oh yeah. You remember going bowling with Tyron? I mean,
I do. I remember those days. You and I had a great time together. What I would call off the field activities together, where we do like where we would be like just having fun together, kind of like what I would call leisure time for what football players do when they're off the field, that kind of thing. That's sort of what we did in our time at Walton together. And I remember, and I actually remember it well. And I think we had and I think that you and I had a great time together. And I was certainly glad that you and I were to be a part of it. And and I was happy enough to be a part of you during our free time together.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. It was awesome. A lot of lunchtime talk.
Oh yeah. I remember those lunch table days in the cafeteria where we'd all socialize and talking to friends of each other, and those were great memories. Those never get old.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we're talking about Joe Burrow right there before I got on. So talk to me. What were we getting on with the Bengals?
The first matchup. Yeah, so the first matchup that we were getting into right when you come on was the Vikings at home take on the Bengals. As I said about a few minutes ago before you jumped in here, that Joe Burrow is out for the season. Now going up against the Vikings. This game's at home for the Bengals. Bengals are 3-0 favorites. Vikings are underdogs in this one. They still have Kirk Cousins. That's all that matters there. So So I got to ask all of you guys there, besides Grant, because we just have great information. But I want to ask all of you, including Blake Lumberger, the two Blakes, and also we know about Grant when it comes to football because he knows about analysts on the football stuff he talks about. But Mike, feel free to jump in this one. Who do you like in this matchup?
It's hard. I mean, and isn't Kirk Cousins injured?
Yeah,
as well.
He is,
so both teams are.
You're very familiar with him because he used to play for the Commanders, and he did this "you like that" chant. So
yeah, we used to call him Captain Kirk.
Yeah,
but what I find interesting, just overall, 5 of the 6 teams playing Saturday are all have 7-6 records. You know, it's with all those teams bunched up at 7-6, it's a must win for all of them.
Yes.
You know, I don't know. This is a hard one to pick. I'd go with the Bengals though, but I don't know why.
Both
Well,
teams are not on their starting quarterbacks as well, so I wouldn't expect that to be a very high scoring game. But yeah, definitely still has playoff implications for both teams. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough to call. I mean, Cincinnati are hanging in there. I think their backup quarterback Browning, I heard, is not too bad of a backup. It seems like, yeah, you got something on him, Grant?
Oh yeah, he can play. I
Yeah.
like Jake a lot. You know, he came out of Washington. He's been a backup for a while. I like the way he, can control the offense, and they really haven't missed a beat. Now, obviously, it's pretty easy when you're throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, but he's played well in the time that he's been in there for Joe Burrow. Now he's no Joe Burrow, but I think he'll be able to get this one done against Nick Mullins, who will be starting for the Vikings. They took out Josh Dobbs, our former Georgia and Tennessee guy, and
That's harsh. It's harsh.
yeah, yeah. I followed him. I know his backstory. I remember watching that game where his Vikings somehow pulled off a miracle in Atlanta. I watched that highlight of that game. That was some incredible post game locker room that I watched there. That was just a incredible story and hot pot game. It was just it was just inspiring. I just that was just a heck of a game right there in the memory books. But go ahead, Grant.
Definitely. Well, I mean, he came in and beat the Falcons, and I guess if we're measuring against who played the Falcons better, I mean, the Vikings definitely would have the edge. But I think Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals take it, this Saturday.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of backup quarterbacks that have come in this year. It seems like this year in particular, there's been so many injuries to starting quarterbacks. But I think, like Grant said, having the weapons that Joe Burrow had with Jamar Chase and Higgins and coming in as a backup, that definitely makes your life a lot easier versus some of these other guys that have come in. I know like the Jets have been cycling through quarterbacks and the Giants and stuff like that. And so having those weapons kind of makes your life easier. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't count out Cincinnati for the playoff chase. It's a bit of a weird one. Baltimore is definitely going to win the division, but Pittsburgh, Cincinnati are definitely still alive. Cleveland as well, by the way, who are also not on their starting quarterback. They've got Joe Flacco playing, a bit of a throwback there. So yeah, like I said, it's been a weird year for NFL quarterbacks, right? You got so many different backups and guys coming back, and it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, what's the other game on Saturday, Jack? There's
there are two other matchups that I want to get to. The other one is the Steelers on the road taking on the Colts against now
two more bad quarterbacks.
Yes, right. Yeah. Which is a year
too many of those
injured quarterbacks, which for the season, which is hard to even it's just hard to put in the words after just a full list of too many injury quarterbacks this season. That's something that the NFL has probably haven't ever seen. But as for this game, one of the quarterbacks that is injured is Kenny Pickett, the hometown grown Pitt Panther quarterback who is going to be out multiple weeks. He was beloved by the Steelers. He's a great. He is a great loved by Mike Tomlin and the Steelers team. The fans really were beloved by them, Steelers Nation, but now they're starting Mitchell Trubisky, the former Bears quarterback and former quarterback from North Carolina. We're going up against Gardner Minshew of the Colts. So, yeah, I feel like this is going to be a pick 'em game, but this one I'm leaning towards the Colts. They're a 1.5 favorite outside 4.25. Well, like you said, 7-6 teams. Steelers are kind of I want to say they're kind of an up and down roller coaster kind of team, but kind of up and down year. Steelers are just kind of in the kind of up and down season for them. I I'm going to be leaning. I could be wrong with this prediction, but I'm going to be leaning towards Colts in this one. Who do you guys like?
Where are they playing?
This game
Indianapolis.
in Indianapolis.
All right, well there you go. That's who I'm going with then, because the Steelers, they can't can't do much on offense. It's been a difficult year offensively for them, and I think that it's going to continue. And Gardner Minshew, he's not a backup. He's a guy who's been the starter for basically the whole year. So he could be considered, a starter for them, even though Anthony Richardson came in, in the beginning of the year, but he's been playing longer. He's got more reps inside. So I think unfortunately for my brother who loves the Steelers, it is going to be a Colts day.
Well,
yeah, I tend to agree with Grant there, Jackson. I think Pittsburgh's kind of down on their last leg here. I think they're fading, and as far as backup quarterbacks go, like I was just saying, Minshew's not a bad option. So I like the Colts in that one as well.
Yeah, you feel bad for your brother if for Grant's brother if the Steelers were to lose, but at least you have something to live on and build on for what's ahead for next year. So there's that. So all right, let's move on now to our final game of this NFL triple header Saturday. We got the Broncos on the road taking on the Detroit Lions. This game being played in Detroit. Now the Lions did come off a loss in an upset to the Bears, and before that, the Packers at home. Now the Lions are just they thought they were going to be the team to beat in the NFC North, but then all of a sudden things have changed and gone very interesting into a downhill for them, which means if they continue this way to lose games like they did against the Bears and the Packers in the last few games, if that trend continues, then I think we should push the panic button on that because of the struggles they've had so far lately this season. And the Lions, although they're favored at home, there are some worries and some unexpected for anyone who's a Lions fan should really pay attention to see what this team really is going to look like in the next few weeks or so heading into the postseason, because for what I'm hearing from my sources, there's going to be some question marks and just so many unknowns what this future for Dan Campbell's team's going to really look like going forward. But for later for the weeks ahead of the season. But as for this game, I'm going to be leaning towards Detroit, but but I wouldn't count out the Broncos in this one because they are also off to a 7-6 start, and I wouldn't count them out, even though I got the Lions slightly favored. But I wouldn't count out Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, and those Denver Broncos. They will find a way to keep it close, but I have the Lions slightly winning this game. But the Broncos will make it a game. That's how I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And that's what I have in my prediction. Who do you guys like in this matchup?
Well, I think that I like your prediction there. I think the Lions do stop the skid at home against the Broncos. I just think Russell Wilson and them, they've been playing better of late, but I still am more of a believer in the Dan Campbell's. They went to since, even though it was early in the season, they beat KC earlier. Like, I think they've got something going there. I like the way they play. They're aggressive. They play good offensive line. They have good offensive line play. I think that they're going to be the team that'll come out on top in this one.
I'm not really liking what I'm seeing from the Lions as of recent, Jack. I know you mentioned the couple of shaky performances. I tend to wonder if some of the luster is wearing off in terms of their hot start. A lot of people predicting them to go far. I kind of wonder if it's a case of they're in such a poor division this year with the Packers have actually been playing well as of late, but the Vikings
and don't forget
Bears.
about the Bears, the Lions beating them in their first meeting, but then Justin Fields just showed them up and closed them out and did the and and shocked the Lions and upset them at Soldier Field in the last game at home. But you're right.
Well, yeah, I
the
mean,
Bears, the Bears do show no quit on this team, and even though they're a bad team, they still find ways to win. And look at what they did against the Vikings on Monday Night Football. They won the game on a game-winning field goal.
yeah, no, I understand. I understand.
The Bears are a sneaky team, even though they're not a great team. They still find no quit on this team, even though they have a young group of guys. But still, they're not a bad team. They still find ways to win games. And the Bears, they're a rebuilding team, but you know what? They're not a bad team. The Bears will. The Bears are the Bears will fight, and I think that they are the better team. And yeah, the Bears are not that bad. And
Yeah, no, listen. The Bears are
team.
having they're not showing a lot of quits, so fair enough. They're still a lousy team though, you know. I mean, I'm not gonna
But I'm just saying the Bears aren't that bad a team.
I understand.
Even though you look at them in the last few weeks, I'm just saying.
I've got respect for the Bears. But I think ultimately the Lions will still win that division. I wouldn't predict them to go particularly far in the playoffs. I just think Jared Goff has a ceiling in terms of being a game winner, particularly in the postseason. But they've got a good team, and I like the coach Dan Campbell. I think he's definitely the players like playing for him. Gosh, yeah, this is a tough one. Is Denver's been playing pretty well as of late. I think I might just pick Denver to win in a close game by a field goal in this one, to be honest, Jackson. I think it's gonna be a close game. Yeah, I think Detroit being at home, they've got a great home field advantage, is gonna keep it close. Saturday night, big primetime game. But yeah, I'm gonna put my neck on the line here. I'm gonna pick Denver by a field goal. Mike, what do you think?
Well, I would go with the Lions by 3. Just the opposite. The Packers and the Bears, they're division rivals. So anytime a division rival comes, they're gonna play each other tough. And but I think the Lions are gonna try to stop their skid and come back. So I'll take the Lions in 3.
Jackson, we haven't even talked about the biggest. You must be saving it for then. The biggest event, the biggest news in the NFL. You must be saving it for last. I don't know if you saw the game, but there's a backup quarterback that plays for the Giants. I don't know if you've seen this. His name's Tommy DeVito.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Jackson, you want to talk about some fire. You want to talk about a quarterback that's got some fire. His agent, if you haven't seen a picture of his agent, you got to go look at his agent. I think his agent turned 21 yesterday. He's in an all-blacks 3-piece suit. Looks like he just walked out of a mafia car. Jackson, the Giants are going to win it all next year with Tommy DeVito living in his parents' house, eating his mom's home-cooked meals every single night, and the whole neighborhood behind him. The Giants are going all the way next year. You heard it first right here.
Well, if you call it, then I guess we can have to revisit that on our next show and just see if we got our predictions right. But I don't know if I believe it. But if it's your prediction, that I'll live with it. I respect that, even though we got different hands on this. But just go and do your thing. And, we'll check back with you if you got it right. But yeah, as far as the Giants go, yeah, I've seen the pregame stuff. I've seen the pregame stuff on it on ESPN on Monday when I was watching on Monday night. I've seen the pregame action of it of the stadium. There's pregame and the tailgates of it. They were so into it. They were so excited, fired up for this guy, like you said, Blake. And
reminds me of Mike's old quarterback that had fire as well. They both. What was his name, Mike? The guy you guys had last year.
Heineke.
Fiery as well.
Heineke.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke.
That's a good call. Yeah,
him,
good call. Yeah.
Just got some fire.
Yeah, unfortunately, Heineke didn't have the fire when he played for the Falcons this year. I mean,
He ran out of fire.
he ran out of fire. He left all the fire in DC.
Yeah.
I do love me some Tommy DeVito. Him talking about chicken cutlets with the vodka sauce. I mean, it's awesome. The Manning brothers really brought him under the microscope on Monday Night Football this week. So I'm glad that he's getting some shine. He's playing well. You know, he's not turning the ball
He's
over.
playing really good.
And he's really leading those long drives to win the game. I mean, it was exciting on Monday night.
He's won his state championship in the exact same stadium. I mean, just a cool story.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Both of the New York teams have had lousy seasons, so a nice story like Tommy DeVito is definitely always fun. Another one of these quarterbacks that steps in and or somebody else and finds a bit of success. Jack, I wanted to quickly mention on the NFL. I guess we're talking mostly NFL today anyway, because college season's kind of on just a bit of a break right now, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are some bowl games, but they're not some great ones. That's what I'm just going to say. But
well, yeah, we got plenty of time between now and the New Year's Six bowls. But
I'm just saying that the bowl games, the great ones, are until after Christmas. So
yeah.
That's where that's where you're probably going to have to tune in.
I know a big NFL topic right now is the Philadelphia Eagles coming off of 2 losses to their biggest rivals in the NFC, the 49ers and the Cowboys. So I think particularly the playoff picture in the NFC right now is a bit more interesting. Well, I guess the AFC playoff picture is a bit interesting as well, given the Chiefs' struggles, but to bring it back to the NFC right now.
The NFC South is a freeway tie with the Bucks, Falcons, and Saints.
That's the least interesting part of the NFC, to be honest, because those are 4 lousy teams.
Yeah, because the Bucks, one of the lousy teams, found a way to win on the road in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, they had the same record when they had Tom Brady last year. So I feel like the Bucks never show any quit on them, but somehow find a way to win, even though they have Baker Mayfield this year.
There you go. So you're saying Baker Mayfield is the same as Tom Brady then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying he's nowhere near the same level as Tom Brady, but say he's your average quarterback, but he's what I'm saying
he's the same as a 46-year-old Tom Brady.
Okay, yeah. That's a better qualification, I suppose.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I wanted to ask Uncle Mike as an NFC East prognosticator how he feels about if he thinks the Cowboys are going to get the edge in that division. The Eagles got through their tough part of the schedule. They've got 2 games versus the Giants left, so they can still capture that NFC East crown. But how are you seeing that division right now?
I think the Cowboys are going to take it. Cowboys still have to play the Commanders.
And that's a bad thing for the Cowboys or a good thing?
That's a good thing for the Cowboys. Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah,
no, I think the Cowboys got the momentum. Then the Cowboys have the momentum, and the Eagles have the brotherly push.
Brotherly shove. We need it.
Yeah, the brotherly shove, which is another topic altogether. I don't know if the if the NFL is going to do something about the tush push or not, but. No, I like the way the Cowboys have been playing. They're going to be tough. Yeah.
Certainly feel like Dak Prescott's put it together a little bit more than he has in past years, but I just think that I'm not going to believe it till I see it in January and in February, because they're known to be, a great team in, October, November. December, they're known to blow them out, and then they get in the playoffs and they kind of forget how to play football. If it's the pressure inside the stadium's too big, it's Big D. Everything's bigger in Texas,
Yeah. Well, they got a good tight end, Ferguson.
Yeah, he's something else.
That's key.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with Grant on that one. I think it's difficult for the general public to trust the Cowboys, given the fact that some of the playoff failures they've had in the past couple of seasons. Dak not really being the same player in the playoffs as he is in the regular season. He's had a great regular season, to be fair, and he might even have an outside chance at winning the MVP this year. He's been great, so credit where credit's due. But I agree. I think until we see the Cowboys get that marquee playoff win, particularly given the 49ers and the Eagles still being really strong teams in the NFC, I think until we see them beat the 49ers or Eagles in the playoffs in the NFC, I'm not really going to trust Dallas personally.
Yeah,
For
the
me,
49ers are another team that the Commanders are going to lose to.
Yeah, the 49ers are on a whole other level, and they're and quite frank and in fact, they are more talented, and they are very explosive on both sides of the ball, and they are way better than the Cowboys, in my opinion, because they've lost their last two to the same team, the 49ers, because how Kyle Shanahan's play calling is so aggressive. He likes to go on a fourth down. He's an aggressive kind of coach, and he does it all. So the Cowboys, if they play the 49ers again, they're probably going to get beat again. If I had to guess, if that's going to come down to sometime in the playoffs or down the road. But yeah, I think the 49ers are probably going to be a slight favorite in that one if they were to meet again in the playoffs, no matter where they play.
I think the Cowboys are going to meet their fate just like they did last year. They're going to have, Ezekiel Elliott. They had him snap the ball, if you remember last year, on the last play of the game in the playoffs to try.
But then he had to go up against George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk, and those guys, and this young quarterback named Brooke Purdy, who I hear is just getting his career started, and he's a young quarterback, and believe it or not, he's trying to be the next Tom Brady. So something you got to keep your eye on against this talented 49ers team.
Yeah, I think Brock Purdy's also in the MVP conversation with Dak as well. I guess Mahomes is still in there as well, but it's kind of been interesting. I don't know what you guys think, if the Chiefs are on the downslide or if it's one of those situations where they're just trying to get into the playoffs. But I don't know, Grant, do you still trust Mahomes and the Chiefs? Like, is it crazy to doubt them?
I mean, he's still, I think, to me, the best that does his job. So I think that as long as he's still at the helm, I think they're going to figure out all of their, issues that they've had this year. I mean, obviously I think they lost to the Lions. They've lost to, they lost to, Denver. I mean,
Buffalo last week.
Yeah, but again, everybody's got to remember these guys can't blow everybody out. The other guys get paid on the other side too. So, they're all everybody's getting paid to win.
It's too bad Mahomes keeps hitting his receivers in the hands.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue for them is the lack of weapons around Mahomes.
Well, the receivers haven't. They've been dropping a lot of balls.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't do that.
Why you wouldn't surround Mahomes around a bunch of gold star receivers is beyond me from like a front office perspective. That's kind of on them, to be fair. But
I think not to mention lining up offsides by a foot.
That also doesn't help, does it? Yeah,
that doesn't help. That was a cool play.
Yeah,
that was one of the best plays I've ever seen. That was for not.
Just a shame, but yeah, I think the front office is just having to deal with. They're trying to get some guys in there that are younger receivers that are up and coming, and I think like they can't pay a guy. They can't go get a guy in free agency and pay him like they could, before when Mahomes on that old rookie deal. So now they're in now they're kind of in the fight. They got to develop some talent in there. I know we had a guy, he got in trouble this year, but Clemson guy, Justin Ross, he was over there, and they liked what he was doing. Now they've got a couple of kids that are developing well, but I think they just need to find some wide receiver depth and talent. Kadarius Toney's a good player, just made a mistake, obviously. So, but they're going to be okay. I think as long as Mahomes is healthy and he's able to run around and do what he needs to do. They kind of come alive. They're kind of a back half team. I feel like they come alive and they prove it, in that back half of the season. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, speaking of the Chiefs, I know that we'll break this one down, but I will just talk about it anyway. But yeah, the Chiefs are heading to Foxborough to take on the Patriots. Yeah, I think we all agree the Patriots are just terrible this year. We can all agree with that because, but I want to talk to you guys, and including all of you, that I've watched Bill Belichick's press conferences, and the reporters were addressing their future uh, of their of Bill Belichick and the coach and the GM, and Bill decided that he wanted to block out the outside noise, and he said stuff like, we're moving on to Kansas City. We're moving on to the next team. That's what he normally says because he's just because
Good
he takes
impression.
because what he does is what he does as a coach is he likes to take one game at a time kind of guy. That's who he is, and yeah, the Patriots are just having a kind of a terrible season. But believe it or not, they beat the Steelers on Thursday Night Football on the road, and yet they still found a way to win, even though they're not a great team. So I want to bring all you guys here in this for a second. But I mean, they have Mac Jones, but I mean, for anyone who's listening up in the who we have family up there in the New England area who's listening, I think what they need to do is address the quarterback, find their next Tom Brady, which I is very unlikely nowadays. But they got to find their next quarterback. Maybe get Caleb Williams or Derek Derek May from the UNC quarterback, or among others. I feel like are the top two who they should go against. But the Patriots, I mean, they are tied with the Steelers with six with 5 Super Bowl wins, at least 6 or one of those two. So yeah, I think the Patriots they want to continue this culture up there for the for this they want to continue this culture for this for this owner and for the GM for the culture for the team. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on that and tell me what this team should be doing going forward, heading into the off season for them.
Well, I think that Mike's going to be really happy in the offseason because Bill Belichick's heading down to Washington after they fire Riverboat Ron. I mean, the Patriots are going to go hire some other hotshot young kid. They're going full rebuild mode. Hey, Bill's heading down to DC. He's going to have a wonderful couple seasons there. He's got a good quarterback to start with Sam Howell. I mean, they got a great defense. I think that that's what's going to happen. So I think that the Patriots are going to be looking for a new coach during the offseason, Jack.
Yeah,
Wait, Grant,
and everybody,
can
wait,
you?
wait, everybody made this point.
Oh, sorry, go Jack.
I was saying, everybody made this prediction last time I go by Guy Sports. So this isn't the only time you said it. Everybody else in the show said it too. So Blake,
I just want Mike to confirm that he's going to hand him off to the Carolina Panthers. That's all. The only confirmation I want is that Mike will pass him up and put him in a car and send him down to Carolina. Can we confirm that?
We can.
Okay.
That's what we said too. So just saying.
Is he confirmed gone? Is it a confirmed fire yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, I thought it was. I thought I saw something yesterday that it was.
But
I mean, if they get a top pick, which it looks like they will, and they get a young quarterback, I don't know. Does Belichick want to do that again, or does he more incentivized to go to a team that has a good defense and, you know, not like a top level quarterback, but maybe someone like a Sam Howell? I don't know. I'm curious because, like, Grant, you watched a lot of college football. If you had the first pick, would you take Caleb Williams?
I don't know. I've met Caleb Williams once. He was a good kid, but that was before he, obviously he's had his exploits now. But I think that you look at Jaden Daniels, you look at Drake May, like Tom Brady played in Michigan. He knows how to play in the cold. I think they need a guy who can play in the cold up in New England. And like Mac Jones is a Alabama guy. I mean, he didn't have to play any cold games during his college career. So I think, elements are one thing, but I think that there's just they need somebody different there. And I think Jaden Daniels is a good player. I don't know if he would be good in New England unless they really kind of change the philosophy of how they run that place, where they're gonna get Jaden Daniels in and then invest a ton in the the weapons around him. But if you look at their hit track record, like they've brought in one real marquee receiver that's worked out, and that was Randy Moss in 2007. So like, I mean, they really heavily relied on tight ends and having a committee running back by committee and just really focusing in on hey Tom, go win us some. They haven't brought in anybody new, and they developed talent from within, like your Edelmans and your Welkers of the world. So I think I don't think Jaden Daniels could go fit into what they need there right this second. I think it would need to be somebody else. I like Jaden Daniels. I think he's a sleeper great quarterback that will get taken in this draft. But I don't know. I don't know that he'll fit in New England. I don't think that Caleb Williams. I wouldn't take Caleb Williams though. I think he's a little bit over his skis with what he's expecting in the NFL, and I think he needs to get in and kind of get beat up a little bit, which he has this year. So he's kind of taking his lumps, which is good. But I think he's I don't know if he's ready for the lights quite yet.
I think Patriots should take Michael Penix out from Washington.
I don't, because we talked about it last week. I don't get why Michael Penix is so under the radar. Like we said it during the Heisman, we're saying it during the draft. Like the guys, like the Pac-12 this year was a tough conference. There's a lot of good teams in the Pac-12, and he led his team undefeated conference champion. So I really feel like he's being slept
the number
on.
one passing offense.
Yeah, I don't get it personally. Like I don't see why he's being slept on so much.
Yeah. But getting back to the Belichick, I mean, is he trying to do too much? I mean, I think the owner is going to come up to him and say, "Look, you can coach, but we're getting a different GM, and you're not going to be doing the draft picks for us. You're coaching the team that we give you."
It'd be interesting to see if he will do that.
It's like
it's one of those things where it's like you never take less money for the job the same job you're doing at a different company. It's like you never take less responsibilities at a new company. So we'll see. He can. You never want to go backwards.
Well, I think he'll do better in Charlotte.
I don't know if anybody wants to work for that David Tepper guy. He's a tough customer.
It's a mess. He's threatening to leave. We don't give him a couple bill to renovate the stadium, and I think a lot of people are saying, get out of here, and we'll hopefully another team will come to Charlotte, or with an expansion team, we'll start all over. So it's a bad time to bargain when you're as bad as you are.
Yeah, that's tough.
But Mike, you send us Belichick, and we'll craft up a good team down here. Okay. He'll help us craft up a good team.
I like it.
The Commanders we'll keep Bieniemy as our head coach.
Well, Jackson, anything before we wrap up? We want to close things out today?
Yes, real quick. I want to get to this real quick. This is a topic locally for Uncle Mike. I want to get your reaction to this, and then I'll close the show with a special surprise, and stay tuned for that at the end of our show. But Uncle Mike, let me ask you. I got to ask you this question. This is for you. Locally, you following locally up in the area where you're at. The Capitals moving to Virginia. They agreed to a state deal. The new development located in the Potomac Yard of Alexandria in North Virginia, which means they are building a facility shared by the two teams, along with the Mystics. So, which means they'll build a facility, but there's a possibility it's still up in the air and unknown that they're building that they're moving to the arena outside of DC from where Capital One Arena. And I've heard different people's opinions on this. They actually have different opinions on this, whether it's a TV or radio or any TV personality anyone you talk to in the area. So, Mike, as a long beloved DC sports fan who has heard about the story, I got to ask you: is this a good thing or a bad thing for the city? Because in my view of this, it might be bad for traffic if they're building it like in the George Mason area where you used to work in Fairfax, and if they build it there,
they won't build it there. I think for the city. For the downtown portion of DC, it's going to be a bad thing. It's going to change Chinatown back into back into a ghost town. It's going to reverse everything that Abe Poland did in '97 when he opened it up. Now, where they're building it in the Potomac Yards area of Alexandria, they got a 15-acre plot of land where they're thinking of building it. It's right by a brand new metro station. So their metro access just as close as the metro to the Capital One Arena now. And what they're going to be building is practice facilities, a hotel, a whole complex for sports and entertainment, all in Alexandria, all off of the metro. So that is very intriguing to be able to do that from scratch. But I'm torn. I hate to see the city lose pro teams, but then there's no place in the city where you could build a place like that unless you take the old RFK site and turn that into a sports megaplex, which would be very interesting. But right now it's just an agreement between Governor Youngkin of Virginia and Abe Poland, the owner of Monument Sports. So it's just a handshake agreement right now. There's a lot of things that have to pass in order for a $2 billion is what the current estimate is to spend on bonds and build that. The district is going to come back with a $500 million option to revitalize Capital One Arena. So more to come, but it's intriguing, to say the least. I would hate to see the city lose teams. And I think that the Commanders need to move back to DC.
Mike, they did this before with the I mean, the Commanders were on board with this, but then the plan and of the approval just like fell apart. That's just what the article said. But yeah, losing teams, putting it out in Maryland or Virginia in the suburbs outside of the district, that's just going to be hard for people just trying to lose their jobs and just along the area, along with people growing, because you can see in parts of Alexandria there are more job growths there. There's more people moving there for businesses. That's what I keep reading about and hearing about, and it's just what's going on in the area. I think that's what people really want to do right now.
Yeah, well, the new place is right next to a metro. They'll actually build a walkway from the new metro to the arena if they build it. So there will be metro access to that. And you have to also remember that basketball and hockey games, they're talking about a 20,000 seat arena. It's not like a football game where you've got 85,000, 90,000 fans coming in. So the crowds are not as big for that, but it's still going to impact some of the traffic in that area. That same area, Virginia Tech is building a graduate school, and Amazon headquarters 2 is is very close by. So that whole area of Alexandria is just going to be exploding here soon. But it's I don't know. I'm torn. My heart says stay in DC, but it would be really cool to see a new facility built out. So.
Yeah.
Guess we'll keep an eye on the updates for that, right, Jack?
Yep. We'll stay tuned. If anything changes, we will let you know on Good Guys Sports. If we will bring it to you, and we'll have the more details on it to you whenever whenever it's there when you need it. It'll be right with you here on Good Guy Sports. All right, so let's close out the show on a happier note and get a shout out to my grandma that her birthday happened to be on the same day that we do our show. Want to get a shout out to our grandma, a happy love birthday.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Grandma. 95th birthday for Joan Springer. Shout out.
Wow.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Joan.
Happy birthday, Joan.
Hope that you're watching and listening to us. We really appreciate it, and we love you very much.
Absolutely.
See you, Jack. Happy birthday, John.
Yep. Happy birthday, Grandma. Hope that you have joined into our show. We loved you, guys. Great way to end our show. Grant, always a pleasure having you on. Come back at come back anytime, and we love to talk some more football with you.
Love it. Would love to. You just let me know.
Jack, you got to start bringing on. You got to start bringing on guests that aren't better than me. Blake was better than me. Mike was better than me. Grant's better than me. I mean, I'm going to get replaced soon. Come on, you got to bring in some low ball guests from now on. Okay?
No. You can't get rid of me, Blake. I love having you as my co-host.
Thank you, Jackson. All right, Jack, be good.
All right, Blake, take care.
Thanks to everyone.
Bye. Good to see you all. Bye-bye.
Great to see you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.